Hey guys, it's Chris and welcome back to another Star Wars The Mandalorian video. This time we're talking Season 2, Episode 4, or Chapter 12, The Siege. Alright, so let's jump right into it. One of the better episodes as far as action and things like that. Really good cinematography. At times you thought you were watching a Star Wars movie. I mean, that's how good they've gotten with The Mandalorian on Disney+. It's a fucking TV show, and like the TIE fighter scenes and the trench run, all that good stuff on Navarro, it looked absolutely outstanding. But anyway, let's jump right in. We have Baby Yoda and Mando trying to fix the ship. Obviously, Baby Yoda not understanding the colors of which wires. You knew as soon as he said they were opposite charge that he was going to get shocked. But anyway, that didn't quite work out. There was an overload, a sensory overload of Baby Yoda cuteness this time. And I like that he actually, used the Force in a different way this time. I thought that was pretty cool. So anyway, they go back to Navarro. We see Cara and the original crew again. And then we see the two guys that he calls on to repair his ship. And I knew something was up with the dude when he looked back at him. And I thought for a minute, well, maybe it's because, the ship's such a piece of shit right now. It's in bad shape. And he looked back like, really, you want us to fix this? But it turns out that was a bit more significant. So we see that Cara Dune is now the marshal of this little town that's doing pretty good after they destroyed all the remnants of the Empire, except for this one base, which, of course, they need Mando's help with. But first we saw the old blacksmith's area where the Mandalorian blacksmith was, their underground bunker, so to speak. And we saw some raiders there seem to be going through and stealing some shit. And we see Cara come in and basically whip all their asses. And you probably recognize those guys as well. They're really good with Easter eggs and shout outs to the old original trilogy and all that good stuff. These were a race called Aqualish. And you definitely know one of these guys. There's a guy named Pando Paba. I believe I'm always pronounced that right. It could be Pando Paba. Anyway, the point being that he is the guy in the original trilogy when Luke and Obi-Wan walk into the cantina, ends up getting his damn arm cut off by Obi-Wan because he wants to pick a fight with Luke because he's drunk and bored. We see them go back to the old cantina or bar or whatever that was where they met before. Maybe it was the Bounty Hunters Guild area. I'm not sure exactly. But anyway, the point being, they go in there and now it's been transformed into a classroom and we see a protocol droid, the same model as 3PO, teaching some children. And that's where they leave Baby Yoda. And he adorably uses his Force powers to steal fucking cookies. This dude is so hungry all the time. I'm telling you, it's going to be the death of him or them. So essentially the side mission this time is they need Mando to help them, get rid of this, last remnant of the Empire on this planet. They go to this base. It's supposedly just kind of an unmanned old forward outpost, but it ends up being a laboratory. And it's a fairly quick job they do. There's not that many people there, maybe a handful of troops here and there, some scout troopers, and obviously some TIE pilots as well. Cara Dune puts a rear naked choke on the dude, and they end up finding out the little reactor location. Really, got vibes of the original Death Star and Obi-Wan trying to go find the tractor beam. Very similar feel there where someone needs to go sneak off and pull a certain bar or lever, press a few buttons to get the place to blow up. And I really like the scene where Mando tells the guy, hey, slice that door. And for those of you that may not know, slicing is the Star Wars equivalent of hacking. So if you played any Star Wars type video games in the past, you probably heard that term before, hey, slice this terminal, whatever it may be. So I thought that was really cool that they use all the lingo. They don't forget anything in this damn show. So the really interesting part is, of course, they come across what seems to be clones, or at least donors who were cloned or whatever, and this ends up being a laboratory, and this is where we're getting, episode 7 and beyond vibes, because I think this is where they're leading. Obviously, regardless of how some of us feel about the sequel trilogy, this is the way they have to go because it is canon. So obviously we saw a recording of the cloner guy, and basically what he was saying was he's taken some of Baby Yoda's blood that was back in season 1 before Mando rescued him and injected it into these volunteers or possibly clones, and it seems to be an absolute failure. But if you take a look here at one of the guys floating in the bacta tank, this looks a lot like Snoke. Apparently they played a little bit of the Snoke theme song when they saw that as well. So it looks like this is going to be the beginnings of Moff Gideon working for Palpatine, obviously based off Rise of Skywalker, and Snoke was going to be his vessel or whatever for him to transfer his consciousness into, and this may be the beginnings of that using the blood of Baby Yoda. So then basically they make their escape. You see some classic speeder bikes. You see the scout troopers again, whatever, chasing them. And then we see the TIE fighters take off as well. And this looked really good. Again, you got some old school Death Star 1 trench vibes with the canyons they were flying through. Then we see Mando, since he had taken off separately with his jetpack and he got back early. He has a nice little dogfight with the 2 remaining TIE fighters. And of course, in classic Star Wars fashion, it looked really cool. And of course, the good guys won. But actually, he deserves this victory. You know, his ship's been through hell in the last few episodes. But then we get to some interesting good stuff in the end of this episode. We find out Cara was actually from Alderaan. And this immediately takes you back to A New Hope again throughout this whole entire episode, when Princess Leia had to watch Grand Moff Tarkin blow up Alderaan. So Cara Dune happened not to be on that planet at the time, I guess, and became a rebel shock trooper. So there's really good backstory there that she's got more invested in this whole thing than we were led to believe. Then we find out that one of the guys who fixed Mando's ship actually planted a tracking device because they're still after Baby Yoda. Moff Gideon is. She goes in to tell Moff Gideon on this very First Order style Star Destroyer, or cruiser I should say. It was just a cruiser class vessel, but it looked more and more like a new First Order cruiser as opposed to an old Imperial Star Destroyer. So I think it was meant to be kind of that in-between, because we still have plenty of time before the First Order's formed, but you can see they're starting to head that direction with the remnants of the Empire, as well as the whole clone thing, which possibly ends up being Snoke, who formed the First Order in Palpatine's name. Because she did say, you will be rewarded in the new era, and the new era to me equals the First Order. So we do see Moff Gideon, and he is saying we'll be ready, and it kind of pans out as it ends, and we see all these droids. Now, these are droids. I believe these were Phase 1 Dark Troopers. Now, the timeline doesn't seem to match up, so I don't think they're Shadow Troopers either, but they were definitely droids. You can see by the arms. They could have been some kind of exoskeleton or whatever. Now, Dark Troopers, as opposed to Shadow Troopers or Death Troopers, were a little bit different. They were actually originally battle droids, and there were 3 phases of them. These look to be Phase 1, where they're a little bit smaller, they're a little more droid-like, and eventually Palpatine shut this down and said they will never be as effective as real people. So the timeline doesn't quite match up, but that doesn't mean they're not using old stuff in this kind of transition period from the remnants of the Empire to the First Order. Anyway, guys, damn good episode. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And we'll live stream again this Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully I'll see you there. Anyway, guys, click right over here for more videos. And if you dig what I do here, please give these videos a like, comment, and a share. And of course, be sure to subscribe to get everything and click that notification bell so you're notified when I drop a new video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.